Before I start, I just wanted to thank everyone who subscribed to the channel during November. I had a goal of reaching 700 subscribers, and whilst I fell just short, it was great to see the support people gave. Now, let's get on with the good stuff. Here are the 10 best indie games to look out for in December. Our first game of this month is World IXE, the latest in the series of Creeper World games that have garnered a pretty strong following. This title takes the series in a new direction by moving from a top-down perspective to a side-on one. The other change is moving to a physics-based world, where every pixel is simulated, meaning the world reacts to your attacks and the spread of the creeper. Like previous games, it is your goal to stop this spread, which you do by blasting through the terrain to find the IXE emitters powering the creeper. It will be interesting to see if this new direction can keep series fans on side and attract new players. World IXE comes to Steam December 12th. At 9 is colourful platformer Nikoderkio the Magical World. This is a real blast from the past and a title that wears its influences on its sleeves. There isn't much more to say on it than that, other than to mention that it includes music from legendary composer David Wise. Nikoderkio the Magical World is already out on consoles and arrives on PC December 6th.
Have you seen his army?
Mean, tastier lunch!
I think we can make a deal with him.
Big, scary enemy!
Wish there were more like him. Dude, focus on the road!
At number 8 is Perjury, a neat looking pixel art detective game. Taking on the role of Justina Smith, a newly hired clerk at the Azure Police Department, you try to find out the truth behind a series of suspicious crimes. You'll have 5 cases to solve, all of which are interconnected, requiring you to gather evidence and solve puzzles. It looks and sounds like a charming time. Perjury arrives on PC December 9th. At 7 we have Bloodshed, a game that asks, what if we took the action roguelike mechanics of Vampire Survivor and slapped it on a first-person retro shooter? It's something that I'm surprised hasn't been tried already. Maybe it has and I've missed it, but Bloodshed is certainly doing it well. The fast-paced combat and movement of an FPS pairs well with fighting waves of enemies, and my only real concern is how the game will scale. It could grow stale fairly quickly, so hopefully Bloodshed continues to throw new stuff at the player to keep them engaged. Bloodshed comes to Steam Early Access December 12th. Next is Voin, which is a fast-paced first-person hack-and-slash game. You explore a dark fantasy world filled with secrets and dangers, with the goal being to acquire new equipment and weapons, then retreat back to the hub in order to cleanse your items to use on new runs. First-person melee games used to be few and far between, but over the last few years we've had quite a few titles try their hand at what is a fairly difficult gameplay type. Let's see if Voin can pass mustard when it arrives on Steam Early Access December 10th. Heading into the top 5, we have Chrono Sword, a Souls-like action RPG, which are words that will delight some and fill others with dread. Personally, I am in the former camp, especially when said game tries something new, which is what Chrono Sword is doing with the ability to travel between the past and the future in order to find out why the future world has been destroyed. It's a mechanic that could lead to some interesting gameplay. Souls-like ARPG does feel like a bit of a catch-all term nowadays, so it can be tough to get a handle on what type of game is being offered, but I will say I like the look of this specific one. Chrono Sword launches on Steam Early Access December 6th. At number 4 is The Spirit of the Samurai, a 2D action game that has a striking stop-motion art style which will surely help this title stand out from the crowd. The player assumes the role of lone Japanese samurai Takeshi, who is attempting to protect his village from a destructive Oni endeavouring to conquer the land with an undead army. The combat in this title looks brutal, and with Metroidvania elements added in, it certainly has some good hooks. There are a lot of similar types of games on the market already, but if the combat sings, that coupled with the art style could draw many in. The Spirit of the Samurai comes to PC December 12th. Heading into the top 3, we have Dustgrave, an intriguing sandbox RPG. If you know your indie games, Kenshi will be the touchstone for this title, but with Dustgrave you take on the role of just one character. It's a title that promises to track every action you make, with the world around you reacting depending on what you do. The player is free to play how they like, using the various systems. Will you become a wandering hero? A brigand stealing from all and sundry? Or a devout member of the clergy? It all sounds very promising, but as similar games have found in the past, it is easy to talk a big game and much harder to follow through. Fingers crossed that Dustgrave is not one of them. Dustgrave comes to Steam Early Access December 5th. At number 2 in this month's list is The Midnight Crimes. The last few months have seen a fair few detective titles appear on these lists, and here we have another one. In this case, the art is what caught my eye, reminding me a fair bit of The Wolf Among Us. Set within a Victorian city, the player will explore a semi-open world as Benjamin, a PI who is dealing with his own issues as he takes on a new case. The game drips with both foreboding and grime, and during play you have to manage Benjamin's stress as he delves into the more unsavoury parts of the world. With the stress system and a reputation system, the Midnight Crime seems to be adding a bit more depth to the usual adventure game mechanics. Time will tell as to whether this was a wise decision or not, but I applaud the developer's chutzpah. If nothing else, it has a corkboard where you red string between clues, so what's not to like? The Midnight Crimes makes its way to Steam December 20th. Finally, at number 1 and my pick of the month is Swordhaven Iron Conspiracy. This is a classic party-based RPG from the team behind Atom RPG. They have tried their hand at making a Fallout, and now they are making a Baldur's Gate. I've not tried their previous game, but I've heard some good things, and with the inclusion of real-time with pause combat, you can see that they are going for a specific type of RPG, and one that I have great fondness for. Developers Atom Team are adding their own spin though, by providing a classless system, allowing players to put points into the stats they want in order to guide their character. Alongside this is a non-linear world to explore and a main story to discover. Everything you would expect from a CRPG. Stormhaven Iron Conspiracy arrives on Steam Early Access December 11th.
Forge your own path through the world with our powerful character creation tool. Customize everything, from your looks and skills to the very goal that brought you to Nova Draconia in the first place. But be warned, for the Iron Conspiracy grows ever stronger. And its fate is in your hands.
That rounds out December. I will say there are a fair amount of early access titles this month, so maybe more games you should keep an eye on rather than head out and buy. It will depend on how much content is included in these early access releases. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would really appreciate any support you give the channel by liking or subscribing, or maybe even watching one of the videos linked on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.